Europe looks simple on a map: one continent, dozens of countries, and a shared history stretching back thousands of years. But ask someone where Western Europe ends and Eastern Europe begins, and the answers start getting complicated. Why is Poland sometimes called Eastern Europe and sometimes Central Europe? Why are Scandinavia and the Nordic countries not exactly the same thing? And what do the Baltics and the Balkans actually mean? To understand Europe today, you first have to understand how Europe became divided. The geography of Europe. Let's start with the map. Europe stretches from the Atlantic Ocean in the west all the way to the Ural Mountains in modern-day Russia in the east. Its southern boundary runs through the Caucasus Mountains and the Bosporus Strait, which is why part of Turkey is considered European. But here's something surprising. Europe is technically not a separate continent at all. Geographically, it is part of a much larger landmass called Eurasia. Europe exists largely because of history, culture, and politics rather than clear natural borders. And that becomes important later, because many of Europe's divisions are political, not geographical. The Iron Curtain changed everything. For much of modern history, the biggest division in Europe was not mountains or rivers, it was ideology. After World War II, Europe was split into two opposing camps. Western Europe aligned with the United States and market-based economies. Eastern Europe fell under Soviet influence and communist governments. The border separating them became known as the Iron Curtain. It stretched across the continent, dividing families, economies, and entire societies. For decades, countries on each side developed differently. Western Europe generally became wealthier and more integrated economically. Eastern Europe remained closely tied to Moscow and the Soviet system. Even though the Cold War ended in 1991, this historical division still influences how many people think about Europe today. The rise of Central Europe. But modern Europe is more complicated than simply East versus West. Countries like Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary were once grouped into Eastern Europe during the Cold War. Today, many people refer to them as Central Europe. Why? Because culturally and historically, these countries have long-standing connections to Western Europe. The label Central Europe reflects the idea that these countries sit between East and West, sharing influences from both. This is why you'll often hear different definitions depending on who is speaking.